Alright, so on assignment 2 here, we're colorizing a black and white photo provided to us. I'm just going to go through the specs here and kind of work on things one by one, talk about my process and how I do it. First of all, I do want to resize it to 5 by 6.25. So if I come up here to my image, I'm going to go to canvas size and put it over to inches here. I'm going to resize it to 5 by 6.25. That's going to resize the canvas but not the image so that I can go through and adjust it if I wanted to. Except I actually did not unlock my layer first, so let me change that real quick. Let me rename a background layer here to original and go back to canvas size 5 by 6.25. There you go. So now I can adjust the image positioning how I'd like it. And I'm going to get them right in the center here. Okay, the next thing we need to do here is get rid of the blurred ovals. This is obviously in the foreground. Maybe it's a fence or something. We don't know. But I'm going to create a new layer and call it stamped out ovals. Zoom in here and grab our stamp tool, which is S on the keyboard. And when you hold down Option, it'll select an area. And in this case, it's selected that right there. And then I'm going to, current and below. These are the tool options here. So I'm going to select the current and below layer. So I'm going to stamp that, bring it over here, and start brushing out these ovals. Cool thing with the stamp tool is it does give you a little preview of what it's going to look like before you commit to using the stamp tool in a certain area. So you want to keep selecting areas and grabbing different places to stamp so that you get the shading of, like in this case, the wall. And get these cracks right here, pull them up. So I'm going to go through and keep doing this real quick. Alright, so my ovals are essentially gone at this point. I can turn my layers off and on to see them or not see them. And I love adding new layers for everything because then I can see what it looked like versus where I'm at now. So the next thing here, we're going to fix the woman's hair. I'm guessing they're talking about the wind blowing through the hair here. So fix woman's hair. Let's come over here and give her a little hairdo. Again, I'm going to use the stamp tool. I have it selected for current and below layers. And let's clean up her hair a bit here. There you go. Maybe give her a little curl inside of there. A little volume. Right, and you know what? I'm going to fix this little strand of guy's hair that's hanging out here too, because he can look good too, right? Alright, and I can see that there's also some lighter and darker inside of the image here. I don't know if you can tell that, but I am going to clean that up a bit too so that it's not so glaringly photoshopped. Let's increase my tool size here. And there we go. Alright, the woman's hair and the man's hair is also fixed. Next up, we're going to lighten the shoes down here. So let's come down to the bottom. I honestly don't know why you would want to lighten the shoes. It's not like shoes are going to be a huge focal point in most pictures. But, you know, I like the shoes. So I'm going to grab my lasso tool real quick. And again, this is just how I do it. There's tons of different ways to do this, but grab my lasso tool and outline my shoe, slowly clicking, click, click, click. Guessing these are his shoes here because I can't see anything. Hit shift with my lasso tool, and lasso tool is L on your keyboard. If you want to use the click and drag type lasso tool that I'm doing here, where I can click and make a line and click again, you'll hit L again on your keyboard. And that will pull up this version of the lasso tool. Alright, and I'm going to create a new layer here. With these, I hit Control J on my keyboard and it copied over from my original layer to this now layer that I call shoes. And bring up my levels tool, Control L on my keyboard. And let's lighten up his shoes a little bit here. I don't understand this at all again. Personally, I would, darken them, but that's just me. Yeah, because to me, darker shoes kind of brings it out a little better. Anyway, scratches, dusts, and inclusions removed. Alright, let's start working on that. And I feel like most of the scratches and dust spots were actually taken out whenever we got rid of those main ovals. So I'm not going to go through that too much. I do want to clean up this lady's shoes right here. They're kind of muddy looking. And so let's go through. I'm going to create a new layer. Woman's shoes. Let's grab my stamp tool here. And I'm going to sample some of these darker areas and just kind of want to define her shoes a bit more here. And I'm using these open and close brackets on my keyboard to quickly adjust the size of my stamp tool. I'm actually not a big fan of that area right here, so I'm going to undo out of that. A lot of times, this is kind of like painting. A lot of times you need to go through and try something out and maybe back up a little bit. Maybe thing about our happy little mistakes, as Bob Ross would say, inside of Photoshop, is you can Control Z your happy little mistakes. You don't have to keep them. Alright, so that just defined her shoes a little bit more there. You can see it's not so much of just a blur area. Alright. Next up, we talk about the dark area at the top lightened. I know their faces are a bit dark. I'm going to work on lightening that with everything. I'm not sure what else dark they're talking about here because it's a sky and I don't know. We're going to colorize that in a second. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and save this right here. And I'm going to merge all of these into a flat layer. Typically I would save a version of it or whatever, but I don't care for the tutorial. Next thing I want to do is go through and we're going to just kind of lighten this and stuff. So I'm going to bring out my brightness and contrast layer. We can lighten the image, get us a nice clear sky. And just kind of play around with this. You don't want it to be too blown out. Right, let's pull up some levels here. Go. And now let's go ahead and give our image an overall hue. Where's my layer at? Oh, I have to change the mode from grayscale to RGB. There we go. I knew something wasn't quite working there. So now we'll go to hue and saturation. And let's click colorize and go ahead and start out with a nice give our walls a color here. Alright, so now we're going to go through and just start adding our layers. I've got layer 1. Let's go ahead and give this, actually let's go ahead and make the sky blue. Gotta start somewhere. So let's use our wand tool and see how close of a selection we can get with this. Yeah, not bad. Go ahead and bring up our color window and get a sky bluish color here. Never realize how hard sky blue is until you have to colorize a photo. Alright, I'm going to hit Option Delete. And obviously it cuts into my guy here, which is no bueno. So I'm going to lower the opacity of this and use my layer mask on with my brush tool. And with my brush tool selected with a black color, I'm going to undo some of my sky here so that our buildings and everything are not a blue color, and our people, because we are not creating Smurfs. Restoring somebody's photograph. Alright. So now we can go through here and adjust that blue color because that is not correct. Hitting Control U on my keyboard to quickly bring up the hue saturation. If it's not working for you, make sure that you're not on the layer mask and you're actually clicked on the blue layer. Alright, so I'm still not too happy with that, but it'll be okay. always go through and adjust things later. Alright, so basically what you're going to do at this point is you're going to go through and colorize each section of this photo. So if I wanted to go in and do skin color, I could go ahead and color out that area. So again, it's okay that he's blue. We're going to change this color in a second here. But basically I just want to outline the area, make it something nice and easy that I can see my outlines for. And I'm not going to grab his hair. Alright, let's go ahead and start him out with a little skin tone here. And I'm going to use Shift minus to work my way through my different blending levels here. So if I click on the layer, Shift minus and Shift plus will get you through your different blend modes. And you can see what skin color you feel like works best on this guy. So that's kind of there. Let's slightly adjust it here with my hue and saturation. There you go. So now he has a little bit of skin color. So we can go through and do the same thing with the lady, dress, the wall, buildings, all of that kind of stuff, and basically just colorize each individual thing. Now when you're done with colorizing everything, we'll go ahead and save it out for the web. And we'll save it as a JPEG. And then you're going to name it with the naming convention that we have here. So we have our first initial followed by last name, followed by pro2.jpg. So save that out, turn it in, and we'll be good to go on this assignment.